Are ya? How are ya? How are ya? How are ya? I'm trying to get a little more light on here. Let me know where you're at today, folks. What you're doing. What's new for you? How's it going? Because today we're going to talk a little bit more about those wonderful qualities. Oh my, this is not in a good, I'm trying to put it in a good spot here. Those wonderful qualities of self-empowerment. Hey, this is great. Oh, don't you love it? Gotta love it. I am setting up in new places to see what's the best place to shoot at, right? What's the best place that I can, film? What is the best place that I can have my computer set up? I don't know about you guys, but it is not easy fumbling live on Facebook. Hey, why not? You don't have to see the behind the scenes video because it's right here in front of you. I am not muted. Awesome. Here we are. So Facebook is working. I am here on Instagram with you. Hello. All right. So we got the craziness out of the way. I have got to find a new setup. I've got like a new desk, a new table, and I'm trying to find out the best place to get the best angle of stuff here. What is that? I think you can see me if I put this here and it doesn't block the view. You may be seeing a little bit of my computer here. Let's move that down. Hello, hello. And when you're setting up, it's the ability not to hit those triggers. And today, what I want to talk about is emotions and self-leadership. Self-leadership is really going from that sense of innocence forward to the discovery and that power of you. So it's innocence to power. And self-leadership is the ability to lead yourself. Sometimes when we talk about leadership, we're talking about leading a group of people and being that strong person. But how do you lead yourself? How do you go from innocence to empowerment and ultimately prosperity, where you're learning, you're doing, you're growing, and you prosper? How do you become strong enough to not avoid necessarily the triggers, but be able to navigate over those triggers and not have those triggers hit us anymore in that deep part of the shadow? Healing from our true self. The shadow is our true self. The shadow is what is inside of us. And there are some more points I want to go over today. This is off my new course that I've launched, and very much something that has developed over the clients that I've worked with in the last year. Just in the one-to-one coaching that I've done, I have done some classes and some one-on-one sessions, but I found out through my clients' testimony and speaking with clients is they have requested they get a little bit more of that one-to-one work and how to improve themselves and come into the power, their true power, their core power. How do they develop the self-awareness? How do they develop self-worth and enoughness? We all have that, whether you're looking at it from a business perspective and leading people, or are you leading yourself? And when you lead yourself, you lead others. It gives you the ability to navigate social skills and influence yourself to influence others. And it's not influence in a sales sense. It is the influence with the power of being your magical self. Who are you? Are you that beautiful unicorn that everybody's looking for with a gorgeous rainbow horn, and you're always sparkling wherever you go, and you come in the room with all this great energy? That's a way to influence others into a great emotional space, into a great comforted space where you're able to make one-on-one contact and build friendship. And if you're able to do that, it helps you also in business because you want to influence people in a positive way. When you're an influencer on Instagram, What are you doing? You are influencing people, whether it's into their prosperity, whether it's to buy clothes, or whether it's to influence them emotionally to change the world. And that is why I come on these lives and talk to you, because this is so important for me. And I know for the people that I work with and for my clients, how do you influence people? How do you influence others? And how do you um, get into that magical moment when you are creating a new world, when you are creating your new world, when you are becoming prosperous and abundant? How do you do that? In order to do that, you have to influence other people. And I am just changing up some things right now. We are here live, and I need to just put a few things in here and say hello to wonderful people out there on Facebook land and Instagram. But in order to influence others, you have to recognize where your emotions are, what triggers your emotions. And just like now, when I started and I threw my phone across my desk, trying to get a little bit more light in there, I could have gotten triggered. I could have gotten upset. I could have thrown, the old me. And this is no secret, in that anger state that I had been in and been depressed for so many years, I would have thrown things. I would have gotten mad, shut it all down, and walked away and gone in the room and closed the door and not let any joy seep underneath that door. But I want to know, when I'm in my true self, and if I fumble, I'm human, right? I'm wearing this meat suit. I came to this earth and I'm having a human experience, right? I'm that soul in the body. And in order to recognize those triggers, it took me time, because I tried to do it myself. I didn't do it without a coach. I couldn't recognize what triggered me. And if I did, when I started to recognize, I got into it. I was looking for triggers to get me upset, because it was my anger that fueled me, my anger that drove me, and it was my anger that gave me the ability to get things done and to conquer things, to conquer life, to conquer work, to conquer any task that I had at hand. And I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to live like that. I was tired. I was sick. I was tired of being tired. But right now, just for the sake of time, I want to bring out why those triggers. When you're addressing your triggers and you're addressing what hurts you and what sets you off, when you can start to see those triggers coming at you, you're looking at a mirror image of yourself. Those triggers come within that shadow self. Those triggers, when we're not strong enough and we're not in our sense of power, we are not empowered, we are not unstoppable, we are at a negative self point. And we need to recognize what hurt us, what brought us to those people. And we get triggered by other people, what they say or what they do. What is it? It's a mirror of us. The universe has brought you these things to say, hey, this triggers you, this hurts you, this is a part of your shadow self that you need to work on, you need to heal, you need to recognize. And take those fragments for what it's worth and find out what makes you that way. And you also get triggered when you're empathic, and being empathic means that you're not in that sense of, when you're empathic in the sense, let's say, when you're empathic in the sense that you're getting hurt by all the emotions around you, and you can't go into a crowded space, or when you're with your family and when you're with friends, and certain movements, emotions, or people or things that happen, when that happens and you're triggered, you're hurt. Where is that hurt coming from? And how do you build past that? So let's look at a few things that get to those triggers. Are you being honest with yourself? So here's 3 things for today. And tomorrow we're going to discuss another at least 3 more. What is your self-honesty? Are you honest and truthful to yourself? That's huge. Are you telling yourself the truth? It's also integrity. Um, what are you telling yourself? Are you pretending that family doesn't hurt you? Or pretending that your boyfriend, husband, best friend doesn't hurt you? Hello, Esperanza Smith. Love to see you. Um, you know, are you able to observe what that trigger is? Are you able to observe what your behavior is once you're triggered? What do? Right? Also, it's the self-discipline. And the self-discipline is the ability to have the vigilance to manage your mental and emotional state. It doesn't mean stopping yourself from having emotions. We're passionate beings. I truly believe that. We're here on this earth to feel, to think, to do, to be angry, to be happy, to be sad, but not to be in that all the time. We want to ultimately be curious and happy and joyful, but we need to understand it is what are our qualities in self-discipline? Are we able to recognize those triggers, and are we honest with those triggers? And the third one in this is your emotional intelligence. It's your humility. What is your emotional intelligence like? It grows as we grow. It grows as we become conscious. It grows with tensions and oppositions that seem to be against us. But are we able to acknowledge humbly that we don't have the answers to what's going on? That that's maybe not our energy, that's their energy. And maybe even though it's a cyclical cycle, sometimes we have to separate and detach what is going on right now in this moment, that we're not in control, and that we are in control of us. And that's where the influence comes in. And as you have influence and you're able to control and have great emotional intelligence means that you're able to recognize what your emotions are. You're able to recognize why you're feeling that way, good or bad. You're able to recognize the moment in front of you. You're able to listen to your intuition. You're able to guide yourself. That's that emotional intelligence. What are you going to do with what's in front of you? Those are my notes. I don't know about you, but I'm a writer. I like to write in my journal. I love to take notes. And especially when I'm meditating or walking, I got to come home and write. And here are a few things. Here's some tips today. I'm not just going to give you tips on what your emotional intelligence is, but I have found as a coach that the important thing is, how do you work with it? How do you help relieve those stress, those tensions, and how do you open up your heart space to forgive yourself and open up and recognize and find your truth? What you do is, I love oils. So here's some great oils right now that I am loving. One is definitely helichrysum. And if you guys have questions, you can always message me. But for the sake of time, I'm going to kind of run through this really quickly. Helichrysum is definitely it's a beautiful flower oil, and it helps with the emotional healing of deep scars, those battle wounds, that emotional exhaustion, the trauma, the PTSD. But it is fragrant and it is floral, and it is very great for when you are healing in a sense of grief. Sometimes we grieve for the things that happen to us because we live in our victimhood and we don't want to get past it. And you have to grieve that moment and grieve that time. And as you do that, you're able to let it go and cut those cords of what you need to cut, or bring those emotional tentacles back. And that's a lot of what I explain in my coaching programs. Ylang ylang. Why? Another floral. Why florals? Oh, God, yummy. It reminds me of flowers, of flower fields, and bumblebees and birds singing and sunshine. It's all in one bottle. Yes, it is. Just go with me, bear with me for that, because yes, you can get sunshine and happiness in a bottle. What does ylang ylang do? It is another one that is great. The floral essence is a high vibration. They're blessed oils. I always bless my oils, whether they come from a place that is blessed or not, but I choose very carefully where my oils come from. But enough of that. Let's move forward. What it does is, when you are using tools, oils are tools to increase your vibration because they are at a high vibration. And I take them with me. I take them in a little roller carrier. I put them on. So if I'm at the store and I'm in line and, hey, you know what? I can't spray the crazy in front of me. I can't spray the negative demonite in front of me. Then I can just put my oil on and protect me. And I can put that protection around me and bring the strength in. And as my emotions grow and I develop my emotional intelligence within seconds, right? And the person in front of me is influenced whether they know it or not. And you don't have to touch them. You don't have to talk to them, and you have changed. Another great tool, crystals. Crystals are amazing. Why, Nicole? Well, I'm about to tell you, because crystals are at a high vibration. You can give your crystal a job. What do you want your crystal to do? This is rose quartz. Rose quartz is great for the heart. In order to be on a higher realm, in order to be in your truth, you need to open your heart. You need to forgive yourself and stop lying to your emotions. Stop living in victimhood. Gain your self-worth. Stop being the sheeple, right? Stop being the sheeple, shepherded by all those self-help gurus. What you need to do is, I give you, what's the difference between me and those out there? I give you the tools to change, the tools you can take with you, the way to recognize that truth and not. And that is what you do. And then I give you the ability to do it yourself. I empower you to do it yourself. Rose quartz, great, great, great great crystal, for opening the heart. It is also great as a yoni egg. Ladies, this is amazing. If you have questions, reach out to me. And it's something I did in my heart space for healing the rebirth and healing through endometriosis. That is a story for another day. Amethyst. What amethyst is? Another high-powered crystal, right? For your third eye and your higher chakras up here. When you take these crystals and you hold them and you talk to the crystals and say, hey, what are you feeling? Open up your tuition. Be honest with what you're feeling. That is your intuition. Your intuition is what guides you. What about quartz crystal? Number one crystal for me. Always come back to this. Quartz crystal. Well, why, Nicole? Because A, you can find it anywhere. B, it's a repeater. And what does a repeater do? Just like your phone, just like a radio, a repeater repeats the signal. So if I want to amplify my amethyst, that crystal is amplified too. Rose quartz, amplification. I give these puppies a job. I bring in this third goddess crystal here, and it's going to amplify it. But quartz will take anything. Quartz will play that role. Quartz is something that, as a creative person with your creative juices flowing, you can kind of designate it to be whatever you want. It's a blank slate. If you were an artist, you'd want to draw on a canvas, a white canvas, so you can add all the color you want to add. Those are a few tips and tricks, right, to raise your vibration. Here's the third one. How to get that self-honesty, right? Pumping. How to get into your emotional intelligence. What about self-discipline? Self-discipline comes in juicy bite sizes. So if you're not disciplined, I wasn't disciplined, I don't blame you. Couldn't get up on time, didn't make it anywhere on time, didn't know what I was wearing, I was disorganized, I couldn't commit, and I was angry all the time, but I was angry at myself because I didn't know what I was doing. I had no guidance, and that's what your angels are for. That's what a coach is for. But when it comes down to it, the easiest thing when you don't have tools, pause and pray. Put your hand on your heart. Breathe in, breathe out. I challenge you to just take a deep breath, and not feel a change, because the breath is life. The breath is everything. What are you doing when you're smelling essential oils? You're breathing. You're breathing the breath of life. What do crystals do? They help cleanse the air. They help clear the air. They help clear the crazy space, and so you can breathe. When you don't have the burden of life on your shoulders, you can relax, and crystals help you take a deep breath. That is why it's so awesome when you're meditating or anything else to have that around you. Take 30 seconds, breathe. Take 30 seconds. You got 30 seconds. Take a minute, breathe. You don't have to take hours. You have to start in tiny increments. And throughout the day, you'll start to realize when you're meditating, when you're breathing, when you have control of your emotional state, when you are great emotional intelligence, and when you're being true to yourself. Are you walking? Are you running? Are you taking some meditation? Are you exercising? Are you having a moment where you're just in bliss and you are connected to your guides? Those are moments of meditation and moments of clarity. And those are the moments that you're striving for. So I guarantee it, if you start to write it down, you will realize all those juicy little moments you have during the day that you are taking care of you. What is that one thing that you can do today to make the next day, to make this day, to make the next year great? I'm Nicole. If you have any questions, reach out. Love being here with you guys and giving you these tips and tricks. That's what I do. If you want to reach out to me, all my links are in the bio, or just private message me, whichever way you want or can. Thank you for being here. Love you guys.